actively look for new ways to have fun and compete while watching sports, you gotta check out StatementGames.com. That's StatementGames.com. Statement Games is a new, simple, yet innovative form of sports gaming that is changing the way thousands of fans view sporting events. With Statement Games, you select player and game props or statements to compete in tournaments for prizes. Sign up for free using your Google or Facebook account. No credit card or debit card information is required. Try StatementGames.com today and watch how we take fantasy sports to the next level.
StatementGames.com. That's StatementGames.com.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh, okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time, it's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do. Oh, tell the world I see with an emoji to stop the bullies.
Know someone who's being bullied online? Send the witness emoji. It looks like an eye in a speech bubble, and it's in the symbol section near the clocks in your phone. You'll let the world know it isn't cool, and you'll let your friend know you care. Learn more about the witness emoji at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? When floodwaters reach your door? When wildfires are engulfing the edge of your neighborhood? or an earthquake is destroying buildings. When a tornado is tearing through town, or a hurricane strikes. Or is the best time perhaps today? During a disaster, you may not be able to stay in touch with your family or friends as easily as you think. And it's not always as simple as using your cell phone. That's why now is the time to take action. Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing bottom line. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds. And most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient.
That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
we rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals. But I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Number 70!
We're talking about practice.
Hello, you play to win the game.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
3, 2, 1, happy 2000!
No time on the clock, and the Patriots have won Super Bowl 36.
Jordan open, Chicago with the lead.
Worldwide Sports Radio Network presents Below the Mark.
Hello, Long Island, New York, and around the country. This is Below the Mic. Remember, you can call us at 631-965-4990. You could also go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Download our app, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't done that already. And if you haven't, I'm going to smack you around a couple of times because I tell you this over and over and over again. All you have to do is go to iOS, which is the application for Apple, and you put in WWSRN, or you could go to Android and put in the search bar, in the Play Store, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Well, we have a great show lined up for you. We're going to get into a lot of stuff that's going on in New York sports and around the country, all the sports news. Obviously, the Padres are making some big moves, making them obviously a World Series contender with Blake Snell and now Yu Darvish. Now you have a great pitching staff right there lined up in the National League with the Padres, with their lineup as good as it is in the middle of their lineup, as good as it is in baseball. So we will get into that a little bit later. We're going to get into the New York Knicks playing great basketball right now. Who would have thought in the first 4 games of the season the Knicks would be 2-2? And obviously Julius Randle, everybody loves him all of a sudden. Had a triple-double last night against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I almost said Cleveland Indians, but the Cleveland Cavaliers, who obviously the Knicks are so much more better than the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we will get into that a little bit later. We're going to get into the Jets. I mean, stories coming out of the New York Jets and the organization that Sunday will be the last day for the googly-eyed Adam Gase. So that's something that we can talk about moving forward. The New York Giants have a chance to make it to the playoffs. They're going to need some help. They're going to have to knock off the Cowboys, and obviously the great and powerful Eagles are going to have to knock off the Washington football team. We will get into that in just a few moments. But we do this all the time. But before we do that, what's going on, Speedy? How are you?
I'm doing fine. I've had a lot of fun with my family. Continuing to do that.
How wonderful.
Yeah, very, very relaxing and good. And
oh, so you're not relaxed when you're here. Is that what you're saying? You're not relaxed when you're here. You're more relaxed with your family. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, of course. Oh, poor Speedy. He's away from his family forever, and he cries me a river. But Speedy is there in Connecticut for 2 weeks, and that 2 weeks should be more than enough time when he gets back over here to stay here about 4 or 5 months and concentrate on the network, which we are moving forward in the new year. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I will, as the thing starts coming along with all the COVID-19, a lot of the events were shut down last year, and we had the opportunity to go and do a couple events last year, but they were canceled. But this coming year, with the vaccine out, hopefully this summer, we're going to have a lot of events to go to and some of the events that we're very intrigued and very happy and very excited to do. But we do this every single below the mic. What do we call this, Speedy?
Sports and entertainment news.
Oh, Cubs Wilson Contreras being shopped around like Yu Darvish with the Yu Darvish trade. I'm very, very surprised that the Cubs are possibly moving forward without Wilson Contreras, their catcher, one of the best catchers in baseball. Speedy, what do you think about that?
It's kind of like what you were saying on a couple shows about Gary Sanchez. It's kind of weird that they could be shopping him around just because he had one down season. Catchers are very hard to find. He's very good offensively. He's got one of the best snap throws, not necessarily for stolen bases, but for pickoffs. So I'm surprised at this, but maybe the Cubs are headed in a different direction now. New manager last year, and David Ross did a nice job. And obviously a new GM now with Epstein leaving. So maybe they're going
Miami Heat could land James Harden for Tyler Hero, Dragic, and 2 first-round draft picks. Very, very interesting. I think that's a good fit right now. I think that makes more of a fit than James Harden going to the Nets or going to Milwaukee. Maybe Milwaukee would fit a little bit more, but all in all, I think James Harden going to the Miami Heat is a very interesting story. I think they're giving up a little too much for him, but again, if you want to win, you're going to have to give up some big-time prospects. So that's what Miami seems like they're going to do. Adam Gase says reports that the Jets have already decided to move along is news to him. Well, it's news to him because he thinks that he's still going to have a job. I do not believe Adam Gase is going to have a job after this. It don't matter if he wins 6-7 games in a row. It just doesn't make sense. Speedy, what do you think about Adam Gase saying that?
It's ludicrous. I mean, you should have known that your job is on the line already. And news to you now in week 17, give me a break.
NFL rumors and news, 49ers to sign Robbie Gould to an extension. Robbie Gould, who's been one of the best kickers in football. I remember Robbie Gould missing that big field goal kick with the Bears. But he has been one of the more consistent field goal kickers this year. So I'm not surprised that the 49ers are going to extend his contract. The NFL is planning on Steelers-Browns game to be played on Sunday as scheduled. Speedy?
I mean, the Browns had all the cases last week. You would hope that a lot of those players will be able to come back, but you can't move it now. I mean, I think you have to play it. I don't think they have a choice.
Colts signed veteran tackle Jared Veltier out of retirement after Anthony Costanzo is injured, probably for the season. So what do you think about that? I mean, Veltier was a good offensive tackle. He's been out of the league for about a year.
Yeah, he's been very good for a while. He was good with the Raiders. He was good with Arizona when Carson Palmer and Bruce Arians were there. And he won one trial run with the Broncos where he regressed a little, but I don't think he regressed that badly. He's still better than a lot of the starting tackles in the league, so I love it.
NBA rumors and news. Blazers star Damian Lillard reveals his role in the roster's decision. I didn't hear anything about that. Did you hear anything about that?
It's some kind of theory why he thinks there's a lot of blowouts, and I think it's a lot of it based on a combination of the low management and also the roster construction of these teams going extreme to the other. But we knew that already. It's the NBA. That's how the players are.
Celtics analysts offer 3 possibilities for teams to trade exceptions. Now, there's a lot of moves that the Boston Celtics should have made last offseason. They need a big man. They need an athletic big man. They have not had one. They bring in certain players over the last couple of years that have not fit Brad Stevens' offense. I'm not surprised where they're talking about making a move really early in the season. They haven't played well. Brooklyn Nets expected to move for another point guard after Spencer Dinwiddie's injury. He's out for the season with an ACL tear. I don't know what point guard they're going to get, an available point guard. Maybe they make a trade with the Knicks, but I don't think the Knicks are going to make a trade with him.
Nah, definitely not.
Well, you're so short for words today. Pacers, Donnie Walsh stepping down from consulting, the consulting role that he has over there. I'm not surprised. Donnie Walsh, who was with the Knicks, he's had a lot of problems with his health problems in his health condition, so I'm not surprised. Warriors rookie James Wiseman impresses Steve Kerr with Giannis play. So what do you think about Wiseman? They're comparing him to Giannis.
Wow, I mean that's pretty bold for first 4 games of the season, but I think he can get there. We know his potential for sure. I don't know if he'll ever be the passer Giannis is, but I can see him being strong and everywhere else.
He's not Giannis, nor will he ever be. I don't know why Steve Kerr is opening his mouth. That's why he's a really stupid coach. MLB rumors: will DJ LeMahieu be a Dodger? Counter to the Padres. I've been hearing that the Dodgers are very interested in DJ LeMahieu, willing to offer him that 5th-year extension, and the Padres are interested in DJ LeMahieu. What do you think about that, Speedy?
If the Dodgers are doing it just to steal him from the Padres, I mean, at this rate, you might as well try, but still, I mean, the Dodgers are still loaded as it is. I don't think that's the area they have to really go after. I don't think they should be scared of the Padres just because they made 2 pitching acquisitions.
I can't believe the Yankees are letting this happen. I mean, if they let DJ LeMahieu go just because of money, that is not the Yankees' way, okay? This is a guy that wants to stay with the Yankees. White Sox, Adam Engel avoids arbitration. The White Sox give him his arbitration money. He had a very good season last year. Speedy, what did you think about that?
Yeah, he's a necessary piece to an outfield that has a lot of talented young players with Jimenez and Robert, and he's that kind of center field, stolen base, defensive specialist type that they need. Every team needs one of those, and it's a nice move.
NHL news and rumors. Ryan Callahan announces his retirement. I know you're a Ranger fan. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I still feel bad for Ryan Callahan and what he had to go through. It's some kind of disease that forced him to retire and forced him to step away from the game, and now it's officially he retires. I feel bad because he missed out on the Stanley Cup team this year.
He still got a ring.
Okay, yeah, but still, I mean, like that kind of experience, I'm sure he would have wanted to play on it. But again, I always loved him as a Ranger. Great captain, great leader, and great guy for the game.
Canada cruises to 10-0 win over Switzerland at the World Juniors. You know, it's so interesting. Canada is just flying and breezing right through the junior championships. United States has had problems against the Russian team, and they haven't played well. I know they won the other day. They demolished, I forget who they played. I think they played Germany or something. They completely crushed whoever they played. It's always the United States and Canada. I'm going to be very interested to see. It might be Russia and Canada in the junior championships, especially the way that Russia has played so far. What do you think about that, Speedy?
Yeah, I saw Canada was up, I think, 10-1 on their previous opponent. I think it was Austria. They won 10-1, so they've been absolutely dominant. But again, Russia is a force too, and we've seen a lot of great young players, including the 2 young goaltenders in New York now, come from Russia. So plenty of talent galore.
Wheat Kings forward Ridley Gregg signs entry-level contract with the Senators. Have anything to say for that, Speedy? That's the last story I got right now.
Yeah, the Senators have a lot of young prospects that have been very good. A lot of analysts saying that they were one of the best draft teams, so good for them to get younger. And we'll see how he comes up this year. I doubt it, but a nice draft for sure for them.
Well, that is the week in sports and entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, for Below the Mic. We do this every single week. Stay tuned, as you guys know. At 7:15, we are going to have Speedy? Connor Jones, where he's playing for Michigan in 2021. Am I right?
2022. He's a 2022 offensive tackle recruit. Connor Jones going to Michigan, recruited by Jim Harbaugh, who you want as the New York Jets head coach.
I didn't say I won. That is my prediction. He is going to be one of the lead 3 guys. How many times do I have to say this, Speedy? You sit next to me. You do this show. I didn't say I want him. I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Harbaugh gets interviewed for this position, because I think he fits very, very well. If you want to bring Sam Darnold back and you want a quarterback guru to actually fix him, the only guy that really comes to mind and what I saw with Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith is Jim Harbaugh. He's a guy that really changed Alex Smith's career. Look, Alex Smith is still in the league. He's still playing good football, and Colin Kaepernick is not in the league anymore. Ever since Jim Harbaugh decided to flee and go to Michigan, Colin Kaepernick wasn't the same quarterback. So I could see the Jets interviewing Jim Harbaugh. I think that's a good move if they decide to go with Jim Harbaugh, because I think he's a good fit, especially on he's a better fit than Mr. Googly Eyes. But I think it's a good move. I really do if the Jets decide to bring him.
Yeah, John Gonzalez in the comments section says Harbaugh would be great for the Jets, he thinks. And then Carl, obviously Michigan fan, says, let's go blue.
No, you know what it is I understand that a lot of Michigan fans don't want to see Jim Harbaugh go to the Jets. Jim Harbaugh has not been very successful in college football. He really hasn't. And you're looking at the Jets right now. If you decide to go for Penal Sewell, who everybody believes that's what the Jets are going to do. He's a generational type of offensive tackle. A lot of people believe that if he was in last year's draft, he would have been the number 1 tackle drafted in that draft. If the Jets decide to go with Penal Sewell, they're probably going to decide to keep Sam Darnold. Now, if that is the case, they're going to need somebody that's going to be able to come in and help Sam Darnold out, figure out ways that Sam Darnold can gain confidence in the pocket for the first time since his rookie season, really since the Lions game or against the Green Bay Packers in his rookie season, and hopefully see the recreation of the quarterback that a lot of Jet fans thought we were going to have, and that's a franchise quarterback. So Jim Harbaugh makes sense. I don't know if that's where Joe Douglas is going to lie. And the stories coming out and some of the stories that I have read the last couple of days is Joe Douglas will be the guy choosing the next head coach for the New York Jets. It won't be the Johnson family. It will be Joe Douglas. So that's good news for the New York Jets. It really is, because anybody that hears the Johnson's name get brought up in a coach search scares the hell out of me. Because in the last, I would say, 5 or 6 coaches the New York Jets have, besides Rex Ryan and maybe Eric Mangini, the choices were completely outrageous in what the Jets have done over the years. Now, Todd Bowles may be a great defensive mind. He is not a good head coach. And we've seen what Googly Eye has done to the New York Jets and the organization in the last 2 seasons. So the Jets need to find a guy that is going to come in, demand respect by the players, and be able to coach a young squad, because this is going to be a very young New York Jet team. Even with veterans like CJ Mosley, he'll be 27 next year. He is going to be under contract. The Jets are not going to move away from the contract with CJ Mosley, because there's a lot of guaranteed money that is left on the contract. So they're not getting rid of CJ Mosley. He will be back next year. And a lot of these young players like Marcus May, which I think the Jets need to re-sign. He's the born leader of this team moving forward. I like what Marcus May has said. He does not want the Jets to lose out in the season. That's why they've pushed forward, and they've won the last 2 games against 2 very good football teams, the Rams and the Browns, 2 possible playoff teams. And who would have thought that the Rams might not make the playoffs because of losing against the Jets? And same thing with the Browns. If the Browns, there's got to be there's some things that have to work out, but there's a very good chance the Browns don't make the playoffs. And because of the thumb injury of Jared Goff, there's a very good chance if they don't win the game in week 17 this coming week, the Rams don't make the playoffs.
No Cooper Kupp either. He tested positive for COVID-19, so he'll be out as well.
So, you're looking at the New York Jets playing spoiler to the Browns and the Rams. The Browns that have had their best season in probably the last 25 years that they've had. And it's not because of Baker Mayfield, because if it was because of Baker Mayfield, Baker Mayfield would have pulled off that win even without his starting 4 wide receivers. He had all his tight ends, he had all his running backs, and besides the 2 offensive linemen that he lost and the 2 linebackers he lost, they were still good enough to beat the Jets. Quinn Williams didn't play. The Jets are injured all over the board. And the fact that they couldn't beat the Jets, to me, shows you that they're not ready for prime time. The Browns aren't ready for prime time. And Baker Mayfield, to me, is still an overrated quarterback in the NFL.
Carl says Browns had armless midgets at wide receiver last week. And he also says Michigan will keep Harbaugh now that they fired defensive coordinator. So
I don't know what they're going to do. I do believe Jim Harbaugh will interview for positions. I do. I think you have to interview for position because who knows what a team, not just the Jets. There are other teams out there. The Bengals could have a coach dispute. They might fire their coach at the end of the season. They're about the Houston Texans with Deshaun Watson could be looking at a Jim Harbaugh to come in and be the coach of Deshaun Watson and some of the in that crazy group. Well, after hearing what Watt said, and I'm going to get into that in just a few moments. You have to believe that Watt is not going to be there next year. He is not going to be there because he sees that this team is rebuilding. Everything that O'Brien did to this organization before he was fired 4 games into the season has ruined this organization, and they got to start all over. I did not understand why Deshaun Watson re-signed or extended his contract with the Texans, because now he's staying on a team that's rebuilding. They're not going to be good for at least 2 or 3 years. They lost their first-round draft pick this year. They don't have a first-round draft pick until next year. And as good as Tunsil has been in some ways, he's not worth the picks that they gave up. The first-round pick
they gave them either.
I mean, look at what Miami's going to get. Miami's going to get the 3rd pick in the first round this year, and they're going to make the playoffs. They're a possible playoff team, and they're going to get the 3rd pick in the first round. I mean, who's better right now than Brian Flores and the Miami Dolphins? So, I mean, Miami has made some good moves, and it's benefited. And hopefully with the Jets making that trade with Jamal Adams and maybe Seattle not being a playoff team next year. I don't know. I don't see that happening because Russell Wilson is there, but maybe Russell Wilson gets hurt next year and they're a top 10 pick, and the Knicks and then the Knicks and the Jets have possible 2 top 10 picks next year. I don't know. Maybe the Jets are a better team next year with the new coaching and the new reconstructed offensive line and defensive line with the money that they have. I don't know, but that's what I want to get into. I want to get into the Jets, and I want to get into some football before we get into anything else and before we get our guest on. I look right now at this team, and I'm talking about the New York Jets. And I know a lot of people are going to make fun of the Jets and say, why did they win? Why have they won the last 2 games? There was no reason to win. This is an organization that should have lost out, so they could have gotten Trevor Lawrence, a generational type of talent. I really believe that when you're an NFL player or a professional athlete, you're playing for a contract. You're playing for a position either on this team or another team next year. And I can't see Marcus May, Quinn Williams, or any of these. Marcus May is a free agent after this year. Marcus May is going to be looking for a big-time contract. He was the MVP of the New York Jets. He was voted by the team as the MVP, the Curtis Martin Award. And I don't believe that Marcus May wanted to lose out this season just for Trevor Lawrence. And who's to say Trevor Lawrence is going to be a generational type of quarterback? Now, obviously, numbers would show that he is. Scouts would say that he is. Andrew Luck was a generational type of talent. He was a great quarterback. He was in the league for 7 years because he got beaten up because his offensive line was terrible until his last season of his career. They never built their offensive line around Andrew Luck. If you look at Jacksonville right now, where is Trevor Lawrence better off being? Jacksonville or the New York Football Jets? And the answer is the New York Jets. The New York Jets have the money, just like Jacksonville does. They have Mekhi Beckham. They have an offensive line that's gotten better this season as the season prolonged. They have weapons. Now, I'm not saying Jacksonville don't have, they have Lenault, they have players, they have Johnson, they have players that can play in the offensive side of the ball. Their defense is horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. The rebuilding of this defensive line and this secondary after Jalen Ramsey is gone and arguably one of the best secondaries we've seen in the last 10 years is completely really gone. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do if you were Trevor Lawrence, knowing that you're going to go to a team, Yes, it's Jacksonville. It's not New York. And why haven't we heard any crazy things about the Jacksonville Jaguars? Before the Jets won their first game of the season, everybody was talking about Trevor Lawrence deciding to possibly stay for his senior year because he doesn't want to play for the Jets. The Jets are a terrible organization. We were hearing that he's going to try to push his way out if the Jets are interested in drafting him at number 1. Why haven't we heard anything like that with Jacksonville? You know why? Because it's not news. Jacksonville isn't big news. First of all, the fans don't even want to go and watch their team play. If you think that one player is going to make the fans go and watch the team play, this was a team that was one of the best teams in the AFC a couple of years ago, and they couldn't even sell out their stadium.
You were talking about that defense earlier of all the losses they had. I think Miles Jack is the only one left of that 2017 Saxonville defense that they had. And again, they've really fell off ever since. So yeah, that's going to take a while to rebuild. Their offense, I think, is in just because of the running back is a little better than the Jets right now, but who says the Jets can't change that with P. Ryan playing well or even drafting a running back this year? It's not by much. The big wild card is...
Hold on one second. You think that the Jacksonville Jaguars offense is better than the Jets?
I think slightly right now, but it's not by much.
It's not even close. Why? Because of a running back? A running back that could get hurt. The Jets have a tremendous amount of draft stock, more than the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they have just as much money as the Jacksonville Jaguars in free agency. I think Jacksonville has $2 million more than the Jets do. The Jets have more draft stock, more everything. The Jets are in a better position for Trevor Lawrence to succeed. So that you're wrong. Just because of a running back? I'm sorry. As good as a running back has played this year, this is 1 year with Johnson. Johnson couldn't even stay healthy for the whole season. And this offensive line, as much as they have gotten better in the second half of the season, this isn't a good offensive line. Jacksonville is not a good offensive team. So you're going to a team that's rebuilding, just like the Jets are. But the Jets are in better position to succeed in the next 2 years than Jacksonville is. So you're wrong, Speedy. I think
I wasn't judging the overall team standpoint. I was judging the offensive standpoint. You're right. The defense is way so far away, and they like a lot of teams. They don't have a GM right now, which is something that's a scary thought. There's not really going to be any good obvious GM choices available. So from an overall team perspective, you're right. I'm just judging offensive talent, but that could change, obviously.
One player is going to make a difference. One player. You're mentioning one player, and that makes a huge difference. First of all, Jamison Crowder is better than any wide receiver they have right now. He's better than any wide receiver they have right now. You have Denzel Mims, that if you want to scratch him off like Lenault, you can compare and contrast both guys. Okay? Yeah. So the Jets they have a better offensive team. Even with the presence of offensive firepower that the Jets have, I'm sorry, the Jets have more weapons and they have a better offensive line than the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, and first of all, it's New York. It's New York. The money that you can make in endorsements. Winning here in New York is like winning nowhere else. Why would he want to go to Jacksonville? Jacksonville, you get lost. You get lost. Look at Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey was so excited to get out of Jacksonville. Look at him. He's in L.A., one of the biggest cities in the world. He's having all that fun. It doesn't matter if the Rams ever make the Super Bowl. He's much more happier in L.A. than he is in Jacksonville. So why would Trevor Lawrence be happy when he hears now that there's no doubt in anybody's mind he's going to Jacksonville? If I was Trevor Lawrence, I would be upset. And all the analysts, all the media, taking shots at the New York Jets organization that Trevor Lawrence should go back for his senior year. He should not want to be drafted by the Jets. The Jets are a terrible organization. What team drafting at 1, 2, or 3 is a good organization? Besides the Miami Dolphins right now, who's played good football since Brian Flores is there, and they got lucky because the Texans have been horrendous. And they decided to trade their best offensive option in the offseason, which made absolutely no sense, in Hopkins, who went over there to Arizona. So, honestly, usually if you're drafting at 1 and 2 and 3, or even 4 or 5, you're a bad team. You're a bad run organization. So why would any media think that Trevor Lawrence would be better off going to Jacksonville, who, by the way, has never won a Super Bowl, than go to a New York team that is ready to be rebuilt. I think they have a GM in place. They're going to get a coach into place. And they're building around the trenches. They're building around their offensive line. What they've done in the offseason and free agency, they're probably going to do it this offseason. And they have the opportunity to rebuild that defense with the money that they have on board. So why would Trevor Lawrence want to go there? You heard Stephen A. Smith. You heard Max Kellerman. I've been listening to all these guys. All of them. Every one of them. I am so sick and tired of hearing Skip Bayless. All these guys that want to take shots at the New York Jets organization because they think that Trevor Lawrence would fit better with another organization than the New York Jets. Now, Sam is excited. You know why Sam's excited? Because he knows damn well that the fact that the Jets are drafting at number 2, unless there's a coach that comes in that says he can't fix Sam, they're probably going to keep Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold is going to get a 4th year to prove himself as the starting quarterback of the New York Jets. Sam also knows that drafting at number 2, a big man named Penei Sewell is going to be sitting there at number 2, where everybody says there's only 2 generational players in this year's draft. There's a quarterback and there's an offensive tackle. And the Jets are going to have a chance to get one of them. And it's probably going to be the offensive tackle. You put Sewell on the other side of Mekhi Beckham, you solidify your edges for the next 10 to 12 years. Now you just have to build around your defense and find yourself another star wide receiver that can make the plays in the open field. And then you're going to have a team to be reckoned with. Now, I know the Jets are not the sexy team to go to. Right now, they're a laughingstock. The Johnson family, they're a horrible run organization. They really are. Joe Douglas has proven he can draft in his first year of drafting. He's been mediocre in free agency so far. Mediocre. Now, we'll see what he's going to do now that he has all the money in the world to spend in the offseason for defensive players. He has C.J. Mosley coming back, so he's going to add another pass rusher. So he's going to add another dimension to the defense, something that they lacked this year. Now that Avery Williamson is now playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and what a bust he's been right now with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's funny to think. I think the Steelers only have one more win than the Jets do since he got traded over there. The Steelers obviously went on that big losing streak, and yeah, he hasn't played well at all.
I'm looking at the New York Jets right now. They're set up very, very well. Out of all these teams right now, give me the top 10 right now in the draft.
It's Jacksonville, it's the Jets, Miami, then Atlanta, then it's Carolina. Philly, Carolina, Detroit.
Okay, so let's go through this.
The rest of the NFC.
Hold on. Are the Jets better set up right now with all the draft stock and the money that they have than the Jacksonville Jaguars? Yes or no?
Yes, I would say so.
We're not going to go with Miami because Miami is set to win right now. All right. Are they set better right now than the Atlanta Falcons? Yes or no?
Yes, because they're very cash-strapped as it is. Atlanta's got a lot of talent, but they're still cash-strapped.
Are they set up better than the Carolina Panthers right now?
Yeah, I would say so, just because the Panthers' overall talent is not great either.
Are they set up better than the Philadelphia Eagles? Yes or no?
That's tricky, but they're not going to go for a quarterback anyway. They drafted Jalen Hurts.
They're set up.
I would say no to that right now. But
I would say yes. Right now. Their defenses look horrendous this year. They can't stay healthy. They're getting old on the offensive line. They're an old offensive line. I would say the Jets are set up better than the Eagles. Okay, who's the other teams?
It was the other two in the NFC, the Giants and Cowboys right now.
The Jets are set up
better than the Cowboys, and they're probably set up better than the Giants.
They are set up better than the Giants. The Giants don't have any money this offseason, and they don't have any draft stock. So the Jets are set up better than all those teams. So why? Let me ask all the analysts, all you fans out there listening to the show right now, why would Trevor Lawrence be better off going to any one of those teams than the Jets? I want to know. Because every single thing I've heard in the past 2 months is don't go to the Jets. If the Jets are drafting one, go back for your senior year. Do not go play for the Jets because you're going to get lost with the Jets. Which is completely appalling if you're a Jet fan. Because the Jets and Joe Douglas, the way he has set them up in a very good position. Now, am I upset right now if the Jets bring in the Baltimore defensive coordinator? I forget his name. Would I be upset? What was it?
Don Martindale.
I would be upset if they bring in the Baltimore defensive coordinator because I don't think the Jets need another defensive-minded coach. Would I be upset if they bring in Bieniemy? I don't know. Okay, I know a lot of people say he's the hottest name right now on the market. And everybody says that he will build this offense to be a spectacular offense. Let me ask you this question. What has Kansas City done the last 2 weeks with their offense? The great Patrick Mahomes, all the great weapons, the Travis Kelce's, the Hills, the Watsons, all the weapons they have. The Le'Veon Bells, the Edwards. What have they done in the last couple of weeks against fair teams? They have done nothing. And who is the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs? Eric Bieniemy.
Now, I will say this, though. Don't you think they also might be not trying to reveal things too much closer to the playoff now that they're in a comfortable position? They don't want to make it easy to game plan for them at this point. They want to take it easy with their players.
I think there are three names that stand out to me. There are three people that stand out to me. The Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
The Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And Campbell. Those are the three guys that stand out to me for the New York Jets. And Jim Harbaugh, but I don't think Jim Harbaugh is leaving Michigan right now. He's making $9 million a year. He wants to bring a national title before he leaves Michigan to Michigan. So I think he's got more things to prove over there in college before he comes back to the NFL. So I don't think you're going to see Jim Harbaugh. So those are the three guys that stand out to me. If you want to bring in Brady from Carolina, I think it's Brady, right? Brady from Carolina. If you want to interview Brady, the young offensive mind right now with Carolina and what he's done with some of the offensive weapons they have over there and losing some big pieces early in the season like Christian McCaffrey, they've been pretty good. Brady's a guy that I would interview. But I don't want to bring in a young guy. I want to bring in a veteran guy, not a head coach that's been a head coach before, unless there's somebody available. Maybe Caldwell. I would interview Caldwell.
He's already gotten one interview from the Texans. They're very interested in him.
And I know I'm reading what Carl is saying. You should be reading off everything everybody's writing so I can answer the questions. What is Carl saying, Speedy? So
biggest question with the Jets is, would a quarterback develop well with the Jets? I think that's where the negative takes on the Jets comes from. He also says, would he develop well under the Jets? Depends on the coach, which obviously we know anyway.
That's the only thing he said.
And then he said the Lions as another laughable one, that the Jets are in way better than a situation then.
I will say this. The most important thing the Jets need to do this offseason is the coach. They need to find the best available coach. That's what the Jets need to do. That's the only way the Jets are going to win. Look at my last post. All right, so Chicago, a.k.a. Carl, is telling me, look at the last post. Speedy, I want you to read all the posts. So know that when everybody writes, I want to get some information so I can answer the fans' question. So if you see something that pops up, I expect you to read it off. So I think when you look at the Jets and the position the Jets are in, I do believe that the coach is the most important move that the Jets need to make this offseason. Joe Douglas, I'm sure, has maybe one or two thoughts on where he's going to go when he fires Adam Gase. I do believe that. Now, the question is, who is he looking at? And is he looking at a coach that he's worked with before? Do not do the Adam Gase thing, okay? Do not. Do not hire somebody that you think you know. You hire them and set the team back and set yourself back for the next 5 to 6 years. Bring in the right guy, the right fit. Don't let the Johnson family make the last decision. Don't even let them sit in the first 2 interviews. Let them sit in the last interview with whoever last 2 guys you want to interview for the last time. Obviously, you interview a coach once, unless you really like the guy and you don't want him to leave. You don't want him to leave your facility. You make sure that you sign him and you make sure that you give him a contract before he leaves the facility. If you're not sure and you have 3 candidates and you're going to interview him twice or 3 times, make sure that the Johnson family doesn't sit in until the 3rd time. Because you don't want them to slowly but surely whisper in your ear, I like this guy. Because they liked Adam Gase, he failed. They liked Todd Bowles, he failed. Every single guy, it doesn't matter if it's Chris or Woody. Woody picked Todd Bowles. Chris picked Adam Gase. And look what 2 of those guys did to that organization. Do not let the Johnson family choose who the next head coach of the New York Football Jets is. That is my argument.
Yeah, it's about time they have a GM that's actually going to stand up like that and actually have that kind of power, though. And he's proven himself to have that kind of power. And you're right. We're seeing organizations slowly funnel away from that. Washington did it with Ron Rivera this year. Dan Snyder didn't really have control with that. Culture changed, and it's a big deal for them. So Carl just said Raheem Morris as another option, or a too defensive-minded of a coach.
I do not bring in a defensive-minded coach to help and save Sam Darnold. You need to bring in an offensive mind. You need to bring in the right guy, because all in all, it's all about saving your quarterback. Now, you can bring in whoever you want. If you decide that Sam Darnold is the guy that Joe Douglas is going to strap Sam Darnold onto his back if he decides this offseason that Sam Darnold is the guy moving forward for the New York Jets. If he's going to do that, he's stamping his name to Sam Darnold. That means if Sam Darnold fails, there could be a very good chance in 2 years that the Johnson family fires Joe Douglas. So he needs to make the right decision here. If you bring in the right coach, you bring in Bieniemy and he says, I can fix Sam, then you keep Sam Darnold. If you decide you want to bring in Brady from Carolina and he says he can fix Sam, then you keep and you decide to go with Brady. If you decide you want to go with the Buffalo offensive coordinator, I forget his name.
Ryan Dable.
If you decide you want to go with him because of what he did for Josh Allen, and Josh Allen and Sam Darnold are like best friends, they hang out in the offseason, then you go and do that. All in all, you need to make the right decision, not for the team prospect, for the quarterback. Because the quarterback is what's going to set you guys up moving forward as an organization.
Now, Carl does bring up an interesting point, though. Too defensive-minded of a coach. You brought up Buffalo. Buffalo brought in Sean McDermott to be their head coach, but then once they had the quarterback process brought in, they kept trying to do other offseason moves to help the quarterback. And we've seen the same thing now with the Dolphins with Brian Flores. So is it an obligation, though, to hire an offensive-minded coach just for the quarterback, though, too, is the other question. And I think that when we had Ian on a couple of weeks ago, he was saying the same thing with Don Martindale or Matt Eberflus or one of those types of coaches that could be just good head coaching types just based on the culture and the way they work with the players.
I believe Joe Douglas is going to interview at least 6 or 7 guys. He's going to interview a bunch of guys, and he's going to do his due diligently, and he's going to decide which guy fits the Jets culture, which guy fits his culture. His culture is building around the draft, which honestly means he's going to bring in a young guy. That's what I think, because you're going to bring in a guy that can help deliver and help reconstruct a young evaluated team like the New York Jets. Quinnen Williams is still very young. Marcus May is very young. This is a young team. Even a guy like CJ Mosley is a young guy. He's 27 years old. He's going into his 4th or 5th year as a professional, or a 6th year as a professional football player. He missed a season. He was 26 this year. He missed his full season because of COVID-19. So you need to bring in, if you're going to build around the draft, You're either going to bring in a veteran coach like a Caldwell that knows how to work with some young, talented players. You saw what he did with Indianapolis when he took over for Tony Dungy, and you saw what he did with the Lions. The Lions actually were 9-7 when he was there. And then they decided to fire him because they brought in a defensive coordinator that doesn't know his ass from his tailbone.
Yeah. Carl says also, well, he thinks bringing a defensive-minded coach and picked up Byron Leftwich as an offensive coordinator.
Oh, Byron Leftwich is terrible. I do not want Byron Leftwich. Are we talking about the same Byron Leftwich that was the quarterback that played for Jacksonville and he was the backup for Pittsburgh? I do not want Byron Leftwich as my offensive coordinator. I don't want him. What I would do, here's what I would do. I would bring in, if you like Eric Bieniemy, and everybody says Eric Bieniemy is the best head coach available, you bring in Eric Bieniemy. If Nagy gets fired from Chicago, you bring Nagy in as your offensive coordinator because they both know the same scheme. They play the same type of offense. You have a guy that knows the way you like to play the game. He's an Andy Reid disciple. That's what I would do. And then I would bring in Wade Phillips as my defensive coordinator. That's what I would do. Let him control the defense and let Bieniemy look over everything that's going on with Nagy and Wade Phillips and let Nagy run the offense. I think Nagy...
You're right. That would be actually a dream scenario for the Jets if that ends up being the case. I just want to ask you one thing, because you were mentioning you always wanted a 4-3 defense. Wade Phillips is a 3-4 guy, though.
I don't care. I don't care, and I'm just telling you, Wade Phillips wants to be a defensive coordinator again. He wants to come back to the league. You have Quinnen Williams. He's a star. He is going to be a star in this league. You bring in a free agent pass rusher, an edge rusher, and you draft an edge rusher in the second round or the third round with all the draft stock that you have. Okay, you put him on the other side. You get rid of Janoris Jenkins because he can't stay healthy and the guy stinks. Okay, you get rid of him. And what I would do is I would draft a corner in the second round. That's what I would do early in the second round. Draft the corner to put on the other side of Bryce Hall. And you rebuild your defense that way. Quinnen Williams, you're not far apart from being a good defense. Look what the defense has done this year in the second half of the season. Look at what they've done the last 4 games. And the way they've shut down good offenses. Do you say whatever you want about the Browns? They were missing their top 4 wide receivers. They had 2 Pro Bowl tight ends playing. They have 2 Pro Bowl running backs playing. They have 2 Pro Bowl offensive linemen playing. They have a Pro Bowl, probably defensive player of the year in Myles Garrett playing. I mean, this was a good team. They outplayed that team. They outplayed the Rams. And the Rams were practically fully healthy. They were a healthy team. The same team that knocked off all those teams 5 games in a row, knocked off playoff contending teams. And the Jets went into LA, which they've never lost. The Rams have never lost, and went into LA and beat the Rams. Okay? That says a lot about this team. It says that they don't give up and they're young. And I do believe that if you put the right coaching around a young quarterback like Sam Darnold will figure things out. Sam Darnold has all the ability in the world to be a successful quarterback. You want to call him Brett Favre? Hey, Brett Favre's a Hall of Famer. If he's anywhere close to Brett Favre, I'll be excited with Sam Darnold. I don't care if he throws a lot of interceptions. If he's throwing over 400 yards a game or 350 yards a game and throwing 4 touchdowns to 1 or 2 interceptions, I'm happy with that because I'm going to win. I'm going to win
the analytics to help them too, where I think that's something that can be coached at that point. They just need the right type of coaching. We're seeing accuracy, completion percentage, catchable balls, stuff like that stressed with analytics now. And a lot of these other younger quarterbacks have done well because of that. So Darnold just needs that type of coach in order to make it work, or a coordinator, new school type of coordinator to make that kind of thing work. And if your scenario happens where Nagy does end up getting fired from Chicago, I don't think he will, but if he does, that would be a great move because he's kind of like that too. He did that right when he
Nagy's getting fired. Nagy's getting fired. He's absolutely getting fired. Chicago is not bringing Nagy back. And I could see if the Jets want to bring in Bieniemy, Bieniemy, if Nagy becomes available, Bieniemy unless Nagy goes back to Kansas City, which quite possibly could happen. Yeah. I could see that happening. Or he decides to go with Bieniemy to the New York Jets and has a chance to coach Sam Darnold and help rebuild Sam Darnold, because if Nagy can help rebuild Sam Darnold, he'll get another coaching job in the league.
Carl says, would Darnold miss as many deep passes as Mitch Trubisky does?
No, he's got a better arm than Mitch Trubisky. So I don't know. I don't know what the Jets are going to do. I'm sure Joe Douglas has a plan. I think he already had a plan 5-6 weeks into the season on what he was going to do with this coaching position, because I don't think they had any thought of keeping Adam Gase, even if he had a winning season this year. I don't think they were going to keep Adam Gase. So I think the fact that he signed a 6-year deal with the New York Jets was telling you that he doesn't think that Adam Gase is the future head coach of this team and this organization. I think he already knew that.
Carl also says Nagy will stay in Chicago if the Bears make the playoffs. I think that would seem
the
pretty
Bears
obvious.
aren't making the playoffs. I know you want to believe the Bears are going to make the playoffs. There's a lot of things that have to happen for the Bears to make the playoffs. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, you got to be a tough Green Bay team.
First of all, there's 4 things that have to happen, right? They not just beat.
No, they just have to win and they're in. But they're playing a tough Green Bay team that is fighting for the number 1 seed right now. So that will not be easy.
Oh, so if they beat Green Bay, they get into the playoffs.
Yes, because the Rams and Cardinals play each other, so one of them has to lose.
So what is the record right now for the Bears? What are they? 8-8?
They're 8-7 right now.
They're 8-7. If they finish the season as an 8-8 team, Nagy's going to get fired. With all the money that they put in to that defense, with Roquan Smith and the players that they have, I mean, the draft stock that they gave up for Trubinsky, the draft stock that they gave up for Mr. Pass Rusher over there. I mean, they gave up a lot of draft stock for 2 players. And it's going to take a while for this team to rebuild. They were expected to win 2 years ago, and they fell short in the first round because of a field goal kicker. And you know what?
You love that team.
What? I'm sorry?
I said I remember you love that team.
That team would have went all the way if they got out of the first round. I think they would have went all the way. That was the best defense in football. Hands down, the best defense in football. They were ripping people apart, that Chicago Bears team. And they laid a lousy goose egg in the playoffs. And it wasn't because of Mitch Trubisky, because he had a fantastic game. Mitch played great. It was the defense that fell apart early in the game, and the offensive line, I don't know what. I think their heads were so far up their asses. I have no idea what happened in that game, and they couldn't run the ball in that game. So, and they're a running team. Chicago's always been a running team. Run first, throw second. So I do look at some of these teams. Now, give me some of the teams that you think are going to be looking for a head coach this offseason.
Well, I think obviously we know Atlanta's going to be one of them. I don't think Raheem Morris is going to stay there. I know he's done a better job with the defense, but as a head coach, they're still having their late game trouble. He's still not really doing great with the players. I think that's an obvious one.
Who was that? Who?
I said the Chargers, another one. I think it was only a matter of time with Anthony.
The Chargers, I think Lynn is going to be fired. Okay, who else? Raheem Morris, what did you say?
I said Atlanta's going to be looking one, because I don't think Raheem Morris is staying.
No, Atlanta's looking for a new coach. Atlanta is not going to bring in their intern coach. I think they're going to bring in another voice for Matt Ryan. I think they're going to draft a quarterback at number 5 or number 6, wherever they're drafting. They're going to draft. If it's Zach Wilson, I do believe Justin Fields will be sitting there at number 5. If the Jets don't draft him, I see more of a fit with the Carolina Panthers with Zach Wilson. I also see Zach Wilson with the Atlanta Falcons. Justin Fields has as much or more talent than any quarterback in this class. The only thing that worries me about Justin Fields is the same thing that worries me about Ohio State quarterbacks. They go into the NFL and they're just not the same players. And that's what worries me about a guy like Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields was not recruited by Ohio State. He was recruited by Georgia. But it is alarming, and we talked about this, that Georgia started, what's his name again, from over Justin Fields, who was the number 1 recruit in the country when he went to Georgia. That didn't make any sense, and that's a little alarming to me when you're looking at possibly drafting Justin Fields at number 2 as a New York Jet. So
you wonder also if the other transfers, how much he's really learned in terms of growing his game. Now, we could say the same thing when it comes to Joe Burrow last year, and he was still the number one pick. And Fields, we know, has a lot more talent on in terms of the overall game than Burrow, I would say. But maybe that kind of thing could help that kind of scenario. But at the same time, you wonder lack of experience, only playing those last couple of years, and now a shortened season this year could definitely hurt that kind of thing. And then with Atlanta too, it's interesting. Would they trade up for him or maybe be more enticed to draft Fields because he's a Georgia guy too?
Well, I think that if he falls to Atlanta, there's no way they're going to pass off on Justin Fields. I don't. But I think there's going to be a surprise team that might move up in the teens. If Justin Fields falls out of the first three, which if he doesn't get drafted by the Jets, he's falling out of the first three because the Miami Dolphins are not drafting a quarterback. They drafted Tua, who I think is going to be a bust, by the way. But nevertheless, they drafted him in the first round last year. They're not drafting another quarterback. So he could fall all the way to Carolina. I could see a team moving up with the Dolphins to snag a Justin Fields. And you know who I think that's going to be? And I think and I know everybody's going to think I'm crazy. The New England Patriots are a team. Remember Brian Flores, his connections with Bill Belichick, and the Miami Dolphins are built to win now. They can win now. I do believe there is. I do think they can use a wide receiver. They could still get the wide receiver they want. I think the Patriots will be drafting at 14 or 13.
15 as of right now, but we'll see where that ends up at the end of the season.
If the Jets beat them, they're going to fall all the way to the 13th or 14th pick. So if New England is drafting at 13 or 14, you can still get one of those Alabama wide receivers, the Waddles or the Smith.
Or Jamar Chase, too.
Jamar Chase is going in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase is going in the top 10. I wouldn't even be so surprised if somebody doesn't move up at 3 that the Miami Dolphins draft Jamar Chase. Okay. So, nevertheless, I can see that happening. Now, Bill Belichick needs a quarterback. Justin Fields could be a generational type of talent. A lot of scouts have said that Justin Fields has just as much talent as Trevor Lawrence, maybe more talent than Trevor Lawrence. But Trevor Lawrence is more technically sound now going into the NFL, and that's why they say he's more of a generational type of talent.
Carl commented that he thinks Justin Fields will be like Dwayne Haskins.
No way. No way. Justin Fields is so much more talented than Dwayne Haskins. So much more talented. Dwayne Haskins wasn't a top recruit when he was recruited. Justin Fields was the number one recruit in the nation when he went from high school to college. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the nation for the last 2 seasons. Dwayne Haskins had one good season, and then he was a first-round draft pick. He is not Dwayne Haskins. He's more of a Deshaun Watson. That's where I would try to compare and contrast Justin Fields to. And I don't know if he's going to be as good as Deshaun Watson, but his game reminds me of a Deshaun Watson, a guy that has an accurate arm, who can throw anywhere on the field, who can move inside and outside of the pocket, who can use his legs to beat you on the outside. So, and he's good on both sides of the ball. So, again, I don't think Justin Fields is going to be a bust, but he needs to go to the right team. And I think going over there to the New England Patriots, which I don't want to see, as a Jet fan, I don't want to see Justin Fields with New England. I don't want to, because I think Tua is going to be a bust. But we're going to have to see Tua for the next few years. And we're going to have to see, obviously, Josh Allen for the next 10, 12 years as well. So the Jets have to be right about Sam Darnold if they're going to pass up on somebody like Justin Fields.
Carl says sandwich bet, Errol.
All right. I'll have a sandwich bet. How long do you want to do this? How long is the bet? 2 years, 3 years? Because I think you're going to see a huge difference and a huge transformation in Justin Fields' game if he starts for any team starting the season next year. If he goes to New England, he's going to be a star. New England will make him a star. You know why? These short passes, using the running backs in the short game, that's what New England does. It's all about technique and all that other stuff, and McDaniels loves that. And having a quarterback that actually can move inside and outside of the pocket, something that Tom Brady couldn't do, and make every single one of the throws because he's as accurate as any quarterback going into this class. A matter of fact, Justin Fields is more accurate than any of the quarterbacks in this class. So Justin Fields would be a perfect fit in my eyes for New England. If New England wants to move up to 3, they're going to have to give up significant amount to get up there. They're going to have to give up at least 2 first-round draft picks to get a Justin Fields at 3. Could I see Miami doing it? I do. I see Miami doing it because Brian Flores is very close with Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick has a relationship with Miami. So I could see that happening.
Carl also says, why not Fields at 2 if he's that good?
Here's the reason why I don't want Fields right now. Unless he has a remarkable Sugar Bowl game against Clemson on Friday and then goes into Alabama, goes against Alabama in the national title game and whips their asses. If he does that, Joe Douglas cannot pass up on Justin Fields. You just can't. No matter how good Sewell is, you can't pass up on Justin Fields if he outplays the Clemson generational player in Trevor Lawrence in the Sugar Bowl and then goes and plays Alabama in the national title game and whips their ass too, or even just slides and passes and makes a few big plays in the game to win them the national title game. You have to draft Justin Fields. You have to. But if he doesn't do that and he gets knocked off by Clemson, even though he has an unbelievable game against Clemson, he throws 300 and some odd yards, 400 yards, and runs for 60, 70 yards and a touchdown, I still draft Sewell because I think the Jets, it's all built in the trenches. When you have to play Miami twice a year, New England twice a year, and now the Buffalo Bills twice a year, you want to have the strongest offensive line in football. And none of your pass rushers, none of those teams will be able to get to your quarterback if you add Sewell and rebuild that offensive line. So I would go after, if you want to be compared, because Sam Darnold, if you decide to go with Justin Fields, is he better than Josh Allen going into the season? No. Is he better than Tua? People are going to think, no, not off the bat. Is he going to be better than whoever the New England Patriots bring in? Probably not. Nobody's going to think Justin Fields is anywhere close to any of those quarterbacks. You don't want to go into the season where teams are not going to respect you. But if you add Sewell to that offensive line and you have Mekhi Beckham on the other side, you move Font to your guard position, you have McGovern, you have Lafrane, or you can obviously bring in the guard from the New England Patriots, pay him a lot of money. I'm sorry? Tooney. They bring in Tooney. You have the best offensive line in football, and nobody's going to be able to touch whoever's behind the line of scrimmage. Nobody's going to be able to touch. It's Sam, it's Justin Fields, it's anybody. Nobody's going to touch him. So you're going to give the guy at least 7 or 8 seconds in the pocket to make a play. Anybody can throw in the pocket then. So that's why. And I don't want to get into the Jets and what the Jets are going to do because this is not a Jets show. But I will say this. If I were a team right now, if the Jets pass up on Justin Fields, I'm absolutely trying to move up with Miami to get him, because if you don't, the Bengals aren't going to draft Justin Fields at 4. That means it's either Carolina or Atlanta that's going to have an opportunity to get him, and one of them are going to snag him up, because nobody would have thought in their wildest dreams he would fall past 3.
Now, if Atlanta is behind Cincinnati and Carolina's behind Cincinnati, say they're picking at 4, would the Patriots try to explore that option if Miami, say, takes Penei Sewell at 3 like they're supposed to? Because that's who the Bengals would draft, I would think, if they're drafting at 4.
Why? First of all, Sewell would go to the Jets, so how would Sewell go to the Dolphins?
Okay, so yeah, if that was the scenario, would that still end up being the case though with the Bengals, with them possibly trying to trade up? Because it might be harder to trade up with a division rival. Miami might try to fleece New England too.
I could see Atlanta trying to move up at 2 with the Jets to get Justin Fields. I could see that happening because Carolina's drafting before him. If the Jets are not high on Sewell and they have another prospect that they really, really like, and maybe Joe Douglas does, maybe he likes somebody else, then the Jets trade out of that pick, trade with Atlanta. You're going to get another first-round draft pick from Atlanta, because Atlanta is going to have to give up a significant amount to move up from 5 to 2 to get a franchise quarterback. To move up from 5, right? They're drafting at 5. To move up 3 spots, you're going to have to give up possibly, if not another first round, you're going to have to give up 2 seconds with that first. So you're going to have to give up a lot to get that quarterback that you want. And you're going to have to entice the Jets to do it. So the Jets might say 2 first-rounders or nothing. And they can do that because they know they're not going to get Sewell then at 5 because he's going to go to the Dolphins. And if he doesn't go to the Dolphins, he's going to go to the Bengals.
Definitely going to the Bengals. That's not even
a question. So it doesn't make any sense. So Miami is probably, yes, John, Miami's probably going to keep their pick unless somebody entices them and gives them a boatload. I could see the Patriots doing that. If Bill Belichick absolutely loves Justin Fields and he knows the Jets are not drafting him at 2, I can absolutely see that. I can absolutely see it. That the Dolphins trade with the Patriots and move all the way up. Because you know damn well Atlanta and Carolina, if Justin Fields is sitting there or Zach Wilson is sitting there, I could see this is what I think is going to happen. You ready to know what my top 5 is going to be?
Alrighty.
I think at 1, Trevor Lawrence is going to go at 1. Sewell is going to go at 2 with the Jets. 3, Jamar Chase, if they don't trade out of the pick.
Okay.
4, that's the Bengals, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals are the only team that I think would trade out of that spot because they can still get the offensive lineman they want from Texas at 8 or 9. So I could see somebody, or you could probably get him at 13 or 14.
Yeah.
He might fall at 13 or 14. I could see the Patriots moving up with the Bengals and getting Zach Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Or getting somebody else that they like. So I do believe that the Bengals and the Dolphins are 2 teams that are going to be teams that, because Atlanta, if Zach Wilson is sitting there at 5, they're drafting Zach Wilson. Because I think the 2 quarterbacks that everybody's going to be looking at is Justin Fields and Zach Wilson. I do believe there are other quarterbacks that are good in this draft class. I do. It might be better than both those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the 2 big names right now. Especially what the BYU quarterback did in his ball game, 400 and some yards, 5 touchdowns, absolutely dominated his ball game against UCF. And I do believe that if Justin Fields outplays Trevor Lawrence and even loses in the national title game, there are going to be teams that are going to love him, absolutely love him.
Last comment before we go to break. Carl was saying, get Julio Jones in the deal. Could that be realistic?
For the Jets?
For Miami, I think he's going for, yeah.
You can get Julio Jones. I think you can get Julio Jones for a 3rd-round draft pick right now. Julio Jones is making a lot of money. He's 31, 32 years old. He's injury prone now. He's still a good player. He still can get you 1,000 yards. I could see the Jets trying to make a trade with Atlanta. If Atlanta wants to move up to the Jets pick to get Justin Fields, Julio Jones could absolutely be involved in that trade. And obviously, maybe you won't have to give up a first with Julio Jones. Maybe you give up 2 seconds, your first, and Julio Jones to move up to number 2. I think the Jets would absolutely bite on that. I could see the Jets biting on that. But that's all hearsay. We don't know what's going to happen. It's really, this offseason is so interesting because of all the teams that didn't have a season and all the players that didn't have a season, all the players that didn't play because of COVID-19 decided not to play. Do you know how many great players are going to be drafted in the 3rd and 4th and 5th rounds because they weren't drafted in the first 2 rounds because there wasn't enough tape of them? It's crazy. It really is.
A lot of them are prospects too. We mentioned Chase earlier, Micah Parsons from Penn State, the Virginia corner, I forget his name. He opted out of the season. There's a lot of them that are top players too that might fall the middle of the 1st round because of that too. I don't think Chase will, but maybe the other 2 definitely could be an option. And you're definitely right where they're going to fall the 3rd too, just because of the great unknowns.
I will say this. Everybody keeps saying, and a lot of Jet fans want Zach Wilson. There's no way in hell Zach Wilson will be a Jet unless he falls all the way to the Jets in the 20s. There is no way Zach Wilson will be drafted by Joe Douglas. I can guarantee you. Remember I said that. No matter how good Zach Wilson was in his ball game, and no matter how good he's at the combine and his pro day, Zach Wilson will not be a New York Jet. That's a guarantee. It's either Justin Fields, Sewell, or trade out of the pick. That's where the Jets are going. I guarantee it. Mark my words on it. I'm pretty right on these things. I'm pretty on with these things. It's Justin Fields, Sewell, or trade out of the pick. If they like somebody else and they think they can get them at 10 or 11 or 12 and stock up on draft stock moving forward for the next 2 or 3 years. I absolutely could see Joe Douglas doing that if he likes somebody and nobody he thinks is going to draft them. Maybe like the pick kid from Miami, right? Is it Miami, the pick kid? Florida.
Oh, Florida.
I'm sorry. The pick kid, the tight end, the best tight end, they think in the last 10 years coming out of the draft. Maybe they like him and they think that he could be, you don't need to go after a wide receiver. Maybe you turn him into a wide receiver / tight end, you know, who can do all things in the open field. Maybe the Jets like him. I don't know. But all in all, if the Jets are drafting at 2, they're drafting Sewell or they're drafting Fields. That is it. Or they're trading out of the pick. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking to Michigan. Yes, a Michigan recruit for 2022. Offensive line recruit Connor Jones. Here, what is it, Speedy? What is it? What is wrong with you, man? Why are you so lost?
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next-door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing bottom line. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
I'm not Michael Jackson out, and I'm not doing the moonwalk, but I'm here. You know, that's what happens. This is the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Remember, you can listen to the show every single Wednesday below the mic from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. New York Eastern Time. I don't have to repeat myself over and over again, but I guess I have to. Remember, you can download our app. All you got to do is go to iOS, WWSRN, or you go to Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, well, we were talking about Jim Harbaugh. I love Jim Harbaugh. I think he's a great head coach, and I think he does fit the New York Jets. But other people that is coming on, one of our recruits, who's going to be introduced in just 1 second, probably begs to differ on that because I think he would rather be coached by Jim Harbaugh than watching him play for or coach the New York Jets. So I'd like to introduce him. We are now talking to Michigan recruit offensive lineman for the 2022 season, Connor Jones. What's going on, Connor?
Not much. How about you?
Well, I'm not dancing. With everything that's going on in the world, COVID-19, I can't wait until 2020 is over. We got one more day left, and then I can get rid of this crappy 2020 and move on to 2021 and hopefully move forward with our network, my life, and everybody else's. How are you and your family doing with this pandemic?
Honestly, we're doing pretty well. It has been a struggle, even throughout the season, but overall 2020, it's been long and hard, and I think everyone can agree with me on that.
Why Michigan? When you think of all the different schools that were recruiting you and looking at you, and I'm sure being that you're a young guy, 2 years still left of high school, what made you decide, first of all, to choose Michigan out of all the other schools that might have been interested in you next year or were interested in you now? So why Michigan?
Well, I came up with 3 criteria, and those were, they had to have that hometown feel. I'm very big with that. That's how the town of Monument, which I live in, that's how it feels. They had to have a pretty good degree plan, which is, I want to go into kinesiology and study sports medicine. And then, of course, development, my plan A is getting into the NFL. And then my plan B is taking the kinesiology route.
Oh, you can work for Jim Harbaugh and his coaching staff. He's going to need somebody, so there you go. After you're done with college football or your kinesiology degree that you're going to have, maybe you become a scientific guy like the Patriots defensive coordinator. You become a scientist / offensive coordinator or something like that. What do you think about that?
I think that'd be pretty dope.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty dope too. Maybe you can ask Jim Harbaugh if he needs another offensive-minded coach. I can come over there and help you guys out. I'll make you laugh, and hopefully, in the long run, win his job, get his job, and he goes to the Jets. And I'd be coaching you in 2 years. That would be a good thing. And I can help you out, man. I can help you with your stance and all that other stuff. Put you on a nice diet and put you, get your muscle up and all that other stuff. I'm good at that. That's one thing I'm good at. So, what is it like, Connor? What is it like being recruited on Zoom? What is it like talking to all the coaches and not going to the school, visiting a school? Obviously, you're a hometown guy. You've seen Michigan before. You've seen the school. What made you decide? First of all, made you decide. What made you? What was it like? What was it like going on the Zoom conversations with the coaches?
Well, I'll say I definitely had a lot more phone calls than Zoom conversations, so the Zoom kind of mixed it up a little bit, which was nice. And really, me and my dad and my family, really, we decided to just control our controllables. So we were going to take every opportunity that we were going to get. And I would rather go in person than be on Zoom, but Zoom is better than a phone call.
So we actually do creative things with their recruits, getting their recruits in, whether it's in the process or directly after, as kind of a rewarding type of thing. Was there anything specific or creative that he did with you? If he met you already personally, if not, obviously with the virtual meetings, it could have been tricky, but was there anything crazy that he did like that?
Well, so I don't think I ever actually talked on the phone with Coach Harbaugh. It was really over FaceTime. And one time when me and my brother were FaceTiming him, he was kind of breaking down how the strength coach does stuff as far as like working on balance and all that stuff. And then, he just got up, walked backwards, took off his socks and shoes, and started balancing on one foot, picking up pennies off the floor.
That sounds like Jim Harbaugh. That's for sure. I don't know him personally, but I watched him play football. I watched him when he was drafted. He was a really good quarterback in the NFL. And the problem with Jim Harbaugh, the stories that you heard about Jim Harbaugh, he didn't get along with a lot of people on the teams that he played for. He didn't get along with a lot of the coaches that coached him. But the guy is a great offensive mind. So when you had your conversations with Jim or Coach Harbaugh, what was it like? Was it very strategic, a method where he was talking about some of the offensive styles that, the game that he liked to play, or what would like to use you in the offensive game? Or was it more like just getting to know you and getting to know the personality that you were on and off the field?
It was really just trying to get to know me. And he was and still is very down to earth. He's a very down to earth guy. Like, it was kind of cool because, me and my dad grew up Michigan fans, and he played at Michigan. It was definitely really cool to be able to sit down and build a relationship with him.
Tell me you're a Tom Brady fan. Please don't tell me you're a Tom Brady fan.
I'm not.
Oh, okay, good. Because he also played for Michigan, and I'm not a big Tom Brady fan. He's 6th-round draft pick for the New England Patriots, and he's going to go down one of the top 5 quarterbacks to ever play the game. And we all heard the story about Michigan. But go ahead, Speedy.
So the Big Ten this year actually had a very unique type of season. They started in the middle of the season with the 6 games that they had, the conference championships. And now there's a lot of controversy now with whether Ohio State should get in the playoff, whether certain teams did better than they should as a result. So what were your thoughts on that kind of season? And maybe you might end up having to play in that kind of season if we still have that kind of issue. Do you think that maybe the dominance is still there for the Big Ten despite those drop-offs? And what do you think that kind of schedule going forward if they have to do it?
I think if any team wants to be successful with that type of season, they need to just control the controllables. So if they can't play a game that week, they're in the gym making sure they're keeping in shape, and they're in the film room making sure they're keeping up with their football IQ. During this year, we all dealt with it. I played a 7-game schedule when I normally play like a 14-game schedule. And I think everybody at all levels was affected by COVID.
We are talking to Michigan offensive tackle recruit Connor Jones. Now, Connor, playing the offensive line, playing the tackle position, and it to me is probably the most important position in football. Everybody keeps talking about the quarterback, but everything is built in the trenches. What made you decide growing up playing the tackle position, playing the offensive line position? Were you interested in possibly being a running back or a wide receiver? What made you decide at the time when you were a young kid to play the tackle position?
Well, I will say I did start out as a tight end and defensive end my first 2 seasons in 2nd grade. But I quickly moved to actually center. That's where I started. I fell in love with it. I thought it was super fun being able to just like stop a guy in his path and be able to just dominate him. And then after that, I moved out to guard, and that was even more fun because there are, pulls and a bunch of different schemes that you can do as a guard that were just fun. You get to run around the field and hit people.
Dancing poles? Did you dance on a dancing pole? Is that what you're saying to us? You were dancing on poles? I don't know. You just said pole. The first thing I could think when it comes to working out is dancing on a pole. So I don't know. As you guys know, we are talking to Michigan offensive tackle recruit Connor Jones. So Connor,
you mentioned you played all 3. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no. Keep going.
Go ahead, Speedy.
So you mentioned you played all 3. What are some of the biggest differences with each of them? And like you were saying, with all these different crazy schemes that a lot of high school and college coaches are coming up with now, what were some of the differences in that? And what were the most fun maybe to play in, maybe most creative schemes that you played in terms of what you can do?
Well, as far as differences between all 3 positions, it gets harder as you move more outside, I believe. Now, I'm not going to take away from anyone in the inside positions, but I think being a tackle and being almost on your own island, you have to be well fit and have fast feet and be able to get out there to those speedy guys, because if you don't, you're just leaving your quarterback out hanging. And then as far as really just like schemes that I've really enjoyed playing with, when I was at guard, actually my freshman year, I was able to kick pull, and we ran a counter, but I kick pulled towards the opposite way that the counter was going, and I just knocked someone, I just knocked the crap out of someone.
So you like to dance on poles and you like to play kickball. That's what you were just telling us. So you're a pole dancer and you like to play kickball. Is that what you're telling us right here? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding with you, Connor. I'm just kidding with you. But what is your strengths? I mean, as an offensive lineman, as an offensive tackle, are you good with your feet? Are you good with your hands? Do you have long arms? What is your strength? What stands out? Your particular size. What is the thing that stands out as an offensive tackle that makes you so incredible at the position?
I would like to think that, I've been training with my trainer up in Denver for the past 2 years. His name is Matt McChesney. The gym's called 6-0. So if you're in town, feel free to check it out. And one thing that he's always said when I first started was use your length, because your length is your best friend. So now, being a little bit more developed than I was then, I'm able to use my length, and I'm not a double puncher. I like to use independent hands. And so you combine that with the length and you do it right, and the defender almost can't do anything. And then you match that with your footwork, and I do more of a drive catch, not a kick. So I drive off my inside foot, catch my outside foot, and keep it smaller steps. And, that it puts you in a position to where if they make an inside move, it's a lot easier to transition.
Mm-hmm.
And then you combine that with that inside hand, and you whack them right in the sternum with that torque hand, right, with your hand and hip.
Mm.
And then they don't go inside again. And then after you take away that inside move, they start rushing hard outside. You take a more vertical kick. And
you got me with some crazy torque hand. I mean, I can use that on my show now. So if I want a torque hand speedy, now I know what it is. So thank you for giving me that information. That's something I can use in something. But I will say this: you are very defined on what you are at your position. We've talked to a lot of offensive tackles, and pretty much they would tell us their footwork and stuff like that. You're explaining to us what makes you strong at the position, explaining if somebody goes inside, you torque hand them. If you go outside, you can do this, you can do that. You have a divide plan every single time. You have a fast guy coming on the outside or a strong beast of a man coming on the inside. So that's very interesting to me. Is there a particular offensive tackle in the NFL or in college football right now that stands out that you can compare and contrast your game to?
I would like to say Taylor Lewan.
Interesting. Why?
Well, first of all, I have talked to Taylor. That was probably the best experience I've ever had. But he's more of a meaner offensive lineman. And he takes that and he takes his more lean body and makes it more athletic with everything that he does. And I'm getting there with the speed and the quickness. I'm definitely working towards it. My goal my senior year is to be like one of the fastest, quickest tackles you'll ever see. But he just uses his athletic ability to get around people, and especially on reaches, those are very hard to do, especially if you have a corner blitz. So you have to get out there in the corner, and being able to have that athleticism and get around that guy, it takes a lot. So I would like to say that's because of Taylor Lewan.
Now, I will say I'm reading what Stacey Jones says. He says pull, not pull. I know it was pull. I was kidding. If you guys actually watch this show, you would know that I'm kidding. I know what he was saying. I know he said pull. I know he didn't say kickball. Okay, I'm joking. Okay, so and Stacey Jones, Thomas H. Jackson. I was kidding. It was a joke. It went over your head. I understand. As you guys know, we are talking to Michigan offensive tackle recruit Connor Jones.
So I want to continue that about what you were saying about Taylor Lewan, because he's actually one of the most fiery guys for an offensive lineman we've seen in the NFL, both on and off the field. We've seen him in the stands a lot of the time with hockey games and college football with some of the Titans teammates. One of the most fiery guys you'll ever see. Was he like that when you met with him? And what are some of the other things that were unique about that kind of experience that you had with Lewan?
So, it was kind of funny. So he's a very down-to-earth dude. Like, if you never knew who he was, and you just talked to him, you'd think he was just an average dude. But he's not, being the highest-paid offensive lineman in NFL history. And when I was talking to him and I told him that he was my favorite NFL player, he just got super geeked out over that. He's like, dude, I've had no one tell me that I was their favorite offensive lineman or favorite NFL player. And having that was pretty cool.
Well, at least your favorite, your favorite player in the NFL was actually nice to you. My favorite player in the NFL, when I met him, well, he was in the NFL, Darrelle Revis. He shook my hand and practically said hello and walked away from me. So at least in conversation, you had a good conversation with your favorite player, and he actually gave you good advice, and you actually have good conversations. Darrelle Revis pretty much gave me a cold shoulder. So unfortunately, I don't have as much luck as you do. Before we get into our outlandish questions and really just have a little bit of fun with you, when you look at the game and how it's transitioned, really the offensive line, and we talk about the offensive line and the defensive line, especially in the NFL, is built in the trenches. Everything, when you talk about championship competitive teams, it's built in the trenches. You need a pass rush to get to the quarterback, and you need an offensive line that can protect the quarterback. When you look at your style of game, going into college football and really learning from a guy like Jim Harbaugh, an offensive mind coach, is there anything that stands out to you from high school and now going to college in 2022 that you can compare and contrast your game as you move forward, moving up in divisions, what I call it divisions from high school to college to the NFL? Is there anything that stands out to you that you need to know or need to learn moving forward going to college?
Really, one thing that Coach Warner has told me up to this point is just to keep working on everything. And what that means is, well, the game's going to get faster. The game is constantly getting faster at all levels, and the speed of the game, like at college, wasn't the same as it was, 10 years ago. So it's progressively adapting and getting faster. So I need to work on my quickness and being more athletic with that. And of course, there's a different mindset coming into college. And so I don't need to work on having a strong mind because I have a strong mind. I need to work on a little bit of that independence and making sure that coming into college that I can do my thing, whether someone tells me to do it or not.
Very interesting. Very interesting. We are talking to Michigan recruit offensive tackle Connor Jones. Go ahead, Speedy.
All right, last question for me. Your favorite game you ever played in, the craziest game you ever played in, and have you ever been involved in any kind of like a trick play, whether you were lined up as a running back or lined up as an receiver, like you saw with the Titans in the AFC Championship game with Dennis Kelly catching a touchdown? Were you ever involved in anything like that? And if so, what was it?
As far as trick plays with me involved with them, I wasn't, just because I don't wear an eligible number. But if you see a different number on me next season, there's a chance that I'm going to go out for a pass and catch a one-hander in the end zone and celebrate with my team. But the craziest game I've been through was state my freshman year. That was pretty crazy. So Pueblo East, they pretty much threw two different trick plays at me at the team. But we got down at half and had to come back. And as soon as we started coming back, they threw another trick play at us. And just seeing how the coaches were reacting to that, seeing how the players were reacting to that, staying calm, making the plays, it it was crazy to me.
All right. So, Connor, this is what we're going to do. And we do this with all the recruits. I'm going to ask you 3 silly questions, okay? And then we're going to let you ask us whatever question you want. It could be silly. It could be crazy. It could be about our lives. Whatever you want. We're going to give you 3 questions. You're going to interview us. So we're going to go back and forth. I'm going to ask you 3 silly questions, and then you're going to ask us whatever you want. All right?
Okay.
Ready? All right. First question. All right. So boxers or briefs, and why?
Boxers.
Why is that?
That's all I've known my whole life is boxers.
So wait a second. So you'd rather give air to your 2 fellows over there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So let me get you straight. You're a big guy. How tall are you?
6'7".
You're 6'7", about almost 300 pounds, right? 280 pounds, 270 pounds. Okay. So you're 280, 270 pounds. You're 6'7", brutally strong, and you're putting on the pads, and you'd rather wear boxer shorts than boxer briefs that'll keep it tight around, give you some leeway with those pads on. Is that what you're saying?
I would, when it comes to football, boxer briefs.
All right. I'm just asking because, when I was a kid and I played football, our cups weren't like boxer briefs where they look like cups and you put them around. We had to wear these jock straps. Okay. You had to wear some people would wear just the jock straps. They wouldn't even wear underwear under them. They would be butt ass naked. Okay. Because, if you're wearing boxer shorts, like you were saying, it'll creep up your butt and you'd be sticking your hands down your pants at the line of scrimmage. Okay. I don't, that's not something that I didn't like. So, I was a hockey player, so I would practically wear my jock strap with nothing under it. So I ask you these questions because you guys are very lucky now with the new end of different style of underwear and stuff that they have now, and the new different pads that they have. It's a little bit better. So that's a good answer. I mean, I want to protect my fellas too. My second question, favorite snack to eat before a game and why?
So I have 2. One of them, it gets catered to the school pretty much every game, and it's Jimmy John's turkey and bacon sandwiches. And then my second one, me and my friend, he's our free safety. His name is Anthony Costanzo. Him and I will go to McDonald's to get breakfast.
Anthony Costanza. All right. So you like what kind of sandwiches do you like? What was that?
So Jimmy John's is the turkey with bacon. And then McDonald's, it's 2 McGriddles with a sweet tea.
Jimmy John's. So how many sandwiches could you eat with the Jimmy John's?
I haven't tested it yet.
So if I put you against Speedy over here, this guy, you want to talk about a person that can eat? You see how skinny that kid is? He's 150 pounds soaking wet. That kid can scarf down practically. I've never seen anybody scarf down food as fast as he can. Okay. If I put you in a sandwich contest, I gave you 10 sandwiches. Okay. Who do you think would win in that contest? You or him?
I would have to say me, because part of being an offensive lineman is being able to eat.
I would have to bet you on that. I would bet you $100. I think we need to have this competition. I think we might do that on live radio, on a live video. We will set up. I will pay for it. Okay. You will get the sandwiches. You'll make your sandwiches. Speedy will make his sandwiches. We're going to get you on next. We're going to get you on when the season starts in 2021, because you have 1 more year of high school, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to make a bet. I'll bet you $100. Okay. I'll bet you $100 that this kid right over here that can scarf down 10 sandwiches quicker than you can for $100. Now, if you lose, okay. Now, if you lose before your football game, how about this? Before a football game, you have to do something crazy. I don't know what. Speedy, what if? And you have to tape it. You have to record it, and you got to send it to us, and we're gonna post it on our social media. Speedy, what can we do for him if you beat him in a sandwich eating contest?
All right. So whatever sandwiches he does not finish, he has to like splat in his face like you would with a pie or something.
That's terrible, Speedy.
Really?
It's fun. It's gonna be on social media. I know what you're gonna say. I know what you got to do. Down If you lose this bet, you got to write on your ass cheeks, okay? I love Michigan State football, and take a picture of it and send it on social media. And I'm going to use that, and I'm going to send that out all over my social medias, and I'm going to introduce you. I'm going to introduce you as Connor Jones, the Michigan State man.
I will say I am 17, still a minor, so I don't think that's legal.
18. You'll be 18 when you can do that. So I know you're trying. Okay, you don't have to put it to your. You have to write it on your. You got to write it on your chest. I love Michigan State football. You got to write it on your chest. I love Michigan State football, and you got to send us the picture on social media, and we're gonna send it all over social media. And I'm gonna say that's Connor Jones. What do you think about that? Is that a bet?
I don't think my coaches would like that too much, honestly.
I know they wouldn't. I know that they wouldn't. But if you're so sure about this, no, look at him. Look at him. He's like 100 and nothing. You're 6'7", 6'8", 280 pounds, and I'm sure you can scarf down a sandwich pretty fast. That kid right there can scarf down 10 sandwiches faster than you, and I'm willing to bet you $100. How about this? I bet you $200.
Well, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Are you just like a speed eating like national champion?
No, he's
Is that your secret?
No, he's not a national champion, but I've never seen a person eat as fast as this kid. I'm serious. He is unbelievable. I've seen him scarf down a hamburger in like a minute. Okay, this kid can scarf down. No. Yes, dude. I've seen you. If you don't think you can win, then you don't have anything to worry about. I know you're going to win. Okay, so I'm going to bet you $250. $250. Okay, next year we're going to get you on live radio. You're going to set up your sandwiches, 10 sandwiches. We got to see them. It's got to be on video. And Speedy's going to have his sandwiches. And we're going to set them up, and I'm going to say go. And whoever finishes those sandwiches first, if you lose, you got to write on your chest, I love Michigan State football. Michigan State football, Spartans football. And if Speedy loses, I am going to Venmo you $250. Is that a deal? Come on, man. Put your money where your mouth is.
I think I am doing that right now, honestly.
All right. So there you go. So you make the bet. Is that a bet?
No, I didn't say that. I don't know. I don't know Speedy that well, so I don't think that's smart for me to make that bet.
He's 150 pounds. He is 150 pounds, soaking wet.
Yeah, but he could have a freakishly high metabolism.
That's true. That's true that he does. But I still think you have a better chance of beating him than he does at you. But I just want to see this competition. And if you lose, you lose. You're gonna have to deal with it. For one day, one picture, dude. I lost a bet. And I had to wear a Tom Brady jersey on live radio, okay? I had to wear a Tom Brady Patriots jersey. You know what I am? I am a Jet fan. I had to wear a Tom Brady jersey, and people took pictures of it, and still to this day, they post it on social media to piss me off, okay? I won't do that to you. It'll be a one-post thing, and I'm going to say, Connor Jones lost, and this is what happens when you lose a bet. And I'm going to send it out. It's going to be one post, and that's it. I will not stick it to you because I respect you as a player and I respect you as a person. But if you lose, you gotta write, I love Michigan State Spartan football on your chest. I'll tell you what. You text me. You text my producer in the next week. You can talk it out with your friends, your family, and your coaches. If they agree to it, we will do this. Listen, man. It's just fun. We're gonna have it all in fun and games. This is fun. We like to have fun on our show. It will be something to watch. You versus Speedy in an eating contest. A 6'8" offensive lineman from Michigan in the 2022 class. And it's your sandwich, dude. It's your meat. It's everything that you like. So you should have no problems beating this kid right over here. He's got to eat it no matter what, even if he likes it or not. He's got to scarf that down. Okay, so I'll let you have a week to decide. I think it's a great deal. And you get. I'm serious. If I lose, I will Venmo you $250, hands down. I'll have no problems doing it, and I will. You'll see me do it after I lose. Okay.
Well, I will let you know my decision next Wednesday.
Sounds good. Sounds good. You can talk to your family, friends, and whatever. It's an easy $250 for you. I can tell you that. If you think you could beat them. So, anyways, last question: blondes or brunettes, and why?
Well, I'm not really picky, but if I had to pick one, I tend to go for the brunettes a little bit more.
Do you have a girlfriend?
I do not at the moment.
Oh, look at you going to Michigan. 2 more years, baby. You'll be in Michigan. I'll tell you this. I don't want to keep it quiet, but I have been to Michigan, and they're beautiful women over there. Lots and lots of them. So you will have your fun over there. Just make sure that you believe in staying safe, if you know what I mean. So anyways, so I'm going to give you the floor. You can ask us any question you want. 3 questions that you would want to ask us, and we will answer it to a T. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, hit us. Let's go.
All right, so first one, pretty basic. What is your guys' favorite snack?
My favorite snack. You know what I like? You know the Welch's fruit snacks? I buy boxes and boxes of those. And believe it or not, if I count them because I'm afraid that people will steal them when they come to my house. So I hide them in different places. I hide the boxes in different places so nobody can find them. So I have 4 boxes in my house, big boxes, and I hide them in different places because I'm afraid that when my friends come over or my family comes over, they're going to steal them from me. So, and I count them. So it would be Welch's snacks. Speedy?
I'm a big salty snack guy, and I also.
Oh, you're just a salty lover.
Yes, hot Cheetos for me is my favorite.
Hot Cheetos, ugh, disgusting.
What is your guys' hobby?
My hobbies. Well, I have a lot of hobbies. I love sports. I love to compete. I will compete in anything: ping pong, tennis, baseball, hockey, football, basketball. You name the sport, I will compete at it. I am not a sore loser, just so you know. But I like to compete. I am not as tall as you. I am not 6'8", 6'7", 280 pounds that can run through a wall. I am not that. I am 5'10", 215 pound. I like to work out. That's something I'd say more working out. That would be my hobby. Working out is one of my things. I like to work out. Speedy is 150 pounds soaking wet, so working out is not his game. That's for sure.
No, definitely not.
It's eating sandwiches.
Sure, we'll go with that. But yeah, I like a lot of different games. I like making a lot of different games. I play a lot with my family between video games, just sports games, anything like that. And again, like Errol was saying, a lot of outdoor sports. I'm obviously not the athlete he is by any stretch of the means, and definitely not the athlete you are, but I just enjoy playing it a lot of the time.
Yeah, he's not an athlete. You know, I like to smack people around. I also like mixed martial arts. I like to compete. So that's something that I love to do. Grappling. When I started doing mixed martial arts, I was a boxer, and I used to watch people roll on the ground. I said, I'm not rolling around unless it's a woman. Okay, I'm not rolling around and with any guys on the ground. But when you watch the technical end of it and watching how beautiful it is, when you understand how to defend that, it's really amazing. It's an amazing sport. So mixed martial arts is something that I love to do too. I like to compete. So I would say that.
And then, I'll ask you guys, blondes or brunettes?
No, Speedy likes men, so
that's not true. Don't listen to
it would
him.
He'd probably be brunette men or blonde men, right, Speedy?
Don't listen to him. He's trying to give you false information that is not needed to be revealed to our guests.
Well, that's what you just tell the truth. Let the fans know.
No, that's not the truth.
So it's not the truth. So I'm lying. Well, I'm lying. Okay, so I lied about that. Sorry,
yes,
sorry, Connor. I just lied to you. So, all right. So what do you like, Speedy? Let's hear it.
Brunettes for me. I've always been slightly more of a dark-haired guy.
He's a brunette. He is a virgin. So just so you know, 25 years old and he's a virgin. So maybe he'll be the first 30-year-old virgin on our radio show. So there you go. Right, Speedy? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. I like to kid. I like them all. I like blondes. I like brunettes. I like them all different shapes and sizes. So there you go. Oh my God. By the way, Cleveland says they go speedy, get them speedy. I don't know what that means. Cleveland, learn how to spell. There you go. Anyways, Connor, thank you for joining us, bud. We're going to be in touch with you. Let me know in about a week. I'm being serious with you. I think it'll be really, really fun. We'll get everybody involved, your friends, your family, to watch this. We like to have fun on this show, and I make some bets with a lot of you recruits. And this is a bet that I still think that you have a better chance of winning than Speedy. Okay, I do. I think there's more of a chance of you winning than Speedy winning. But I'm not going to bet against Speedy because I've seen his appetite. So I think that he can compete with you. I don't know if he'll beat you, but he'll be able to compete with you. So 10 sandwiches for $250. And if you win, I send you the $250 right then and there, Venmo style. We'll do an interview, and then we'll get you on. You do the competition, and then you have a very quick chance of winning $250. I mean, how could you beat that? Eat the sandwiches that you love to eat, and win $250. But if you lose, well, then you're not going to really like it. I mean, saying that you love Michigan State football, Spartans football, would not be something that you would like. But then again, I'm not going to abuse you, and I'm not going to send it all over. You know what I'll do? I won't even put it on social media. I'll just have it. If I need to use it against you in one way or another, I'm going to say, you see this? You see this, Connor? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. It'll be an inside thing. You'll take a picture. I love Michigan State football. I won't put it on social media, okay? I won't do that. So I won't get you in trouble, all right? But it still would be funny. So you're going to have to take a picture of that. And, hey, you win $250 if you win. So how could you lose it?
All right. Well, I'll let you know. Thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Tell the fans how they can find you on social media, bud.
So my Twitter is @77 Connor Jones.
Mm-hmm.
My Instagram is @cjones.77. And my Snapchat, you'll have to DM me for that because I won't put that out there because that's more my personal thing.
I gotcha. Just please don't do like some of these NBA players do, okay? Don't do anything stupid on Snapchat because what was it? Draymond Green, the crazy stuff that we heard that he was doing. Please don't do that. We don't want to get you in trouble, So
no.
you gotta follow our Snapchat, man. You laugh your what off if you saw our Snapchat. It is really, really funny. I'll have Speedy send you our Snapchat. I think you would really enjoy it. You'll probably die laughing. So
all right.
The little the crazy things that we do after the shows are very, very funny. And what do we call that, Speedy? What do we call that?
Basically, he asked a bunch of completely random, weird questions, weirder than he asked you, and puts them on Snapchat. And a lot of times they're like these unknown questions, and there are all these weird scenarios that'll never actually happen. And I give literal answers to them, and Errol gets a kick out of it.
Connor, you would get a kick on them too. I have a load of you recruits following me. They love it. They think it's hilarious, but it's definitely something I don't really give it out on the radio show because it's really for people that, are close to us, but you're one of our recruits. We want you to stay in touch with us. We want to see how you're doing. And that's why I want to get you on the show again sometime in 2021, even if you don't want to do the sandwich bet. That's up to you. If you don't want to do the sandwich bet, that's fine. I'd love to get you on, talk about your senior year of high school and what you look forward to going to Michigan and playing Michigan football. Hopefully, Jim Harbaugh won't be there anymore. He'll be coaching the New York Jets. So, if Jim goes to the Jets, are you a Jet fan?
Can't say that I am.
Who do you root for in the NFL?
Well, I got two teams. Bengals. My dad and I have rooted for them for a long time. And then the Broncos, because, of course, I'm from Colorado.
Really? Really, really, really? You're a Bronco fan. So you were excited when Peyton Manning and the Broncos won a couple of years ago?
Yes.
Yes. Von Miller fan?
Absolutely.
One of the nicest guys I've ever met. Von Miller was one of the nice. I met him in Miami last year at the Super Bowl. And one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Von Miller is a cool, down there, and big. He's a lot bigger than he looks, when you watch him on TV.
He's an animal.
Yeah, he's a massive man. So I had a lot of fun. A lot of the NFL players that I've met, I wouldn't say I wouldn't talk highly of them, but Von Miller was one of the nicest people, one of the nicest NFL players I've met. So I love Von Miller, and I love what he is, and hopefully he comes back 100% next year and helps Broncos defense get back to top of the league. So, John, I called you John. Connor, thank you for joining us. Definitely stay in touch with us. We're definitely going to get you on again. And beware of Speedy Petey and his sandwich eating contest.
All right.
And tell Jim if he wants to go to the Jets, Mr. Marks would love for him to go and coach Sam Darnold. We need a smart quarterback coach that can go out there and rebuild this so-called generational type of quarterback in Sam Darnold. Okay, so maybe if you tell Mr. Jim Harbaugh that I said that we would love him to go to the Jets, maybe he'd decide to go to the Jets.
All right.
I don't think he would, but I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help the New York Jet fans here. Nobody wants Jim Harbaugh. I do. I actually want Jim Harbaugh. I'm one of very few Jet fans that would take Jim Harbaugh. So just one. So anyways, Connor, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Michigan offensive tackle recruit, Connor Jones. Nice kid. He really is. I hope I didn't scare him off with the whole sandwich thing. I know he doesn't want to put Michigan State on his chest. I wouldn't want to either, especially when he's going to play for the Michigan Wolverines. But all in all, he had a lot of. You could tell he was having a good time, and he doesn't want to put Michigan State on his chest. So I don't know if he's going to make that bet, Speedy. Do you?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know if he would have done it if he didn't say Ohio State. Michigan State's not even their biggest rival. If it was an Ohio State bet, I can't imagine he would do anything like that. He'd be scrutinized forever at Michigan.
By the way, Connor, a lot of people on the feeds, on our social media feeds, say good luck over there in Michigan. You got some fans now, Connor. So Connor is a nice kid, you could tell, and I had a lot of fun with him. I hope I didn't scare him off. I hope I didn't. But again, when you interview with me, it's not one of those interviews that are going to just be straightforward. So, but nice kid. I expect the kid to be very successful over there in Michigan, and I would love to get him on the show again. So before we go, what did you think about hearing Yu Darvish and Blake Snell heading over there to the Padres? What do you think about that?
I think the Darvish deal was a steal for San Diego. I think they did a very good job in that deal. The Cubs really didn't have to give up much. Obviously, there are concerns with Darvish. One, obviously, being a streaky pitcher year to year, and also the 2 Tommy John surgeries he's had already. But Darvish coming off a nice year, even if he's down from where he was last year, it's still nice pitching depth. And he's pitched in the playoffs a lot before he pitched with the Rangers. Now he's been up and down as a playoff pitcher, but it's the kind of thing the Padres need. And I think it was a very good deal. In terms of the Snell deal, I think the Rays did very well over the Padres in that deal in terms of the prospects, but young pitching is young pitching. You'll take that.
I think it's crazy. I think the Padres right now are World Series they're a World Series competitive team. I think they're very dangerous. I think with the lineup that they have and the pitching staff that they have, and they had one of the best bullpens in baseball in the National League last year. What weakness do they have? The Dodgers are looking to try to land DJ LeMahieu. Of course, the rich get richer. But the Padres slowly but surely have made some unbelievable moves this offseason that puts them right on top in their division and one of the top teams in the National League. I'm very excited for the baseball season this year. I'm going to be very interested to see where Springer goes, where Bauer goes, but it's incredible. It really is. What did you think about the New York Knicks game yesterday? What did you think about Julius Randle having a triple-double? He's actually passing the ball. I'm very surprised about it. Do you see the Knicks possibly moving at the trade deadline, especially the way he is playing right now?
It's too early to tell with the trade deadline, but you have a very sell high standpoint if you do end up wanting to trade him. But again, if he's passing the ball and he's actually doing the things that Thibodeau actually wants him to do, then you have to end up thinking about keeping him at that point. Just depends on how coachable he is, because he's had problems with coaches in the past. So that's really what it comes down to. But you got to consider selling high.
No, and I think that Julius Randle is not in the future for the New York Knicks. I mean, when you have Obi Toppin there, you have all these guys, you're going to see a lot of Julius Randle until Obi Toppin comes back. It could be 3 weeks, 4 weeks by the time he comes back. And Quigley, they're saying that he might be back in another possibly 2 weeks with the bruise that he has with his hip. So I've been very impressed with the New York Knicks. Tom Thibodeau was the right guy for the position and for the job. I think you're seeing the Knicks play defense. When was the last time you can honestly say the New York Knicks were playing defense every single game? You have even Julius Randle playing defense now. It's I'm sorry?
I said, who would have thought that?
It's incredible. I have to say that it's absolutely incredible. I really, really have been enjoying watching the New York Knicks play. RJ Barrett looks better this year than he did last year. You want to see the development of the kid. And Mitchell Robinson looked good yesterday. I mean, the Knicks are a good young team. The only thing that scares me about the New York Knicks is if they win this year, they fall out of the top 10 with the draft stock and the ability to get one of these big time young players from this year's draft. The Knicks are going to fall out of the lottery. They're going to fall. Right now, they're 2-2. They have a better record right now than the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, who would have thought that 4 games into the season that the Knicks would have a better record than the Milwaukee Bucks? So It's crazy. It really is. It's absolutely incredible what the Knicks are doing right now. But that's what coaching does. Mm-hmm. Coaching can change everything. And Tom Thibodeau, it didn't work out with the Timberwolves, but you see what he can do when he's not running an organization. He's not the president or the GM. He's just the coach. You can see how the players listen to him and what he preaches, and he preaches defense.
Yeah, and I also think, too, with the difference between Minnesota and the Knicks is that Minnesota had a lot of the flashy, like, big-name type young players. Not that RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin weren't, but Towns was the number 1 pick. Wiggins was this huge high school prospect, and obviously was the number 1 pick in his draft, too. After he went to Kansas. And those personalities, I think he's just had a lot of trouble with. I don't think the Knicks really have that big ego type. RJ Barrett's not an ego. Obi Toppin's definitely not an ego type. And I think he's having that kind of impact on those types of players. And again, even with Randall, who we thought was that ego type, he's really getting on right now. And that's a really good sign for the culture of the Knicks. And in terms of getting young players and even getting free agent players that maybe were questioning it before, that obviously the Knicks year after year were in rumors to get and never got.
It's just crazy. Basketball, baseball. We will be back next week talking a lot of baseball because free agency is right here. I want to see I'm surprised the Mets didn't close the deal with George Springer yet. I don't know what they're waiting for. I don't know what they're waiting for. And if they keep waiting, they're going to lose them. And Bauer is still available. There's DJ LeMahieu still available from the Yankees. I mean, now you're hearing the Dodgers and the Padres are interested in DJ LeMahieu. Slowly but surely, the Yankees could lose DJ LeMahieu to free agency as well. So it's really, really crazy with New York sports. So the weekend crunch coming up this weekend. Happy New Year to all you guys. If we're not going to see you for the new year, drive safely, hang out with your friends, don't cause any trouble. If you're doing it, do it out of the ousters of your home. All right. So do not go out and cause trouble. That's all I'm going to say about that. Speedy, do you have anything to say before we go?
Yes. Happy New Year to everybody. And hopefully your 2021 is better than your 2020, which again, isn't saying much, but hopefully it's wishing you all the best.
Connor, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate the kid joining us. Hopefully he didn't scare him off and he doesn't come back on the show. But nice kid, really, really nice kid. I have a feeling he's not going to want to put "I love Michigan State" on his chest. He'll get himself in a lot of trouble. But we'll see. Maybe he will. We'll definitely see about that. I'll give him a call after the show and see if he's still interested in doing it. But we will be back on the Weekend Crunch. Definitely check us out on 103.9 FM every single Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. New York Eastern Time. If you don't live here in Long Island to listen to it on the FM channel, you can go to the app. You can go to iHeartRadio. All you have to look up is LI News Radio, and just press play, and you'll be able to hear the show live with me, Josh Silverberg, and Speedy Petey this coming Saturday. Like I said, Happy New Year. Merry Christmas to all you guys. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. New Year 2021. It's the year of greatness, and hopefully it'll be a great year for us moving forward. Until then, this is Errol Marks, and the great and pain in the butt Speedy Petey saying good night, and we'll talk to you then. Good night, everybody.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Number 70!
We're talking about practice.
Hello, you play to win the game.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
3, 2, 1, happy 2000! No time on the clock, and the Patriots have won Super Bowl 36.
Jordan open, Chicago with the lead! Worldwide Sports Radio Network presents Below the Mic.